Of course, yeah, we got to bring this up now. The villain is played by Jean-Claude Van Damme. And rest assured, Van Damme fans, he does get to make some awesome kicks.
I think Stallone actually fought with some skill there too with the chains. Looks like he's used them before.
Well, let's not jump too far. So what do you guys think of Jean-Claude as the villain? Was he better than Eric Roberts?
He was a perfect villain.
Yeah.
He was great because he didn't give any shits the entire time about nobody. Didn't care about his goons. Didn't care about the people he was slaving to get nukes. He was just for the fun of it. Even when he was losing the whole time, he was like, "I'm good, whatever."
I think Jean-Claude Van Damme was a very, very good villain in this. Better than Eric Roberts. You can actually tell he's just pure evil from his gray eyes to his cold, clammy hands.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, bringing back the clammy hands, right? I guess he did decide that the movie was worth getting his clammy hands on this time, right, Hamburgler?
Yeah,
yeah.
I guess so.
All right. The thing is, I could talk about the ridiculous plot and whatnot, but I think it's a given with this movie. I could talk about how useless some of the characters are, like how the plot just needed Liam Hemsworth to show up once and then die to be a memory for the Expendables, even though he's only been with them for a very short time, apparently. I won't really... It would be kind of redundant to go into how ridiculously set up all the action scenes are. Like, they have this elaborate built-in raid in the first part of the movie, which basically...
Not so much elaborate. It's kicking the door down and shooting everything you can.
Yeah, but I mean... Well, that part was obvious, but the first 20 minutes of the movie is basically... It's a series of scenes basically reminding us what was great about the first movie. But then like some of the action scenes were really dumb. I mean, obviously, because I was sitting next to Hamburgler here, and he can well attest to the fact that I was just shaking my head and just laughing at some of the stuff that was going on in the movie, like the scene where they just happened to hang glide out of there, and I don't know. I mean, obviously,
you don't leave hang gliders lying around, and it was a zip line, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, that's true. They zip line on. Oh wait, did I?
Lines.
But even for this movie, some of the action scenes were so contrived. I mean, there's a big scene where they've been led into a trap. It's much like The Dark Knight Rises, come to think of it. They're led into this underground cavern, and they're sealed in. But the difference between Dark Knight Rises and Expendables 2 is that they get let out when Arnold Schwarzenegger rides a friggin' steam...
A mole machine.
Yeah, a mole machine into their cave. Even though I don't know how the heck he knew they were there.
Well, to be fair, Bruce Wayne recovers from a serious spinal injury in less than 5 months, somehow manages to make a harrowing climb, falls, somehow manages to not damage his already battered spine.
How does his knee recover in the beginning?
Oh, he has a knee brace. I've got one too.
Well, guys,
yeah, true.
Well, let's leave the Dark Knight Rises, that part.
We'll leave some material for you when you review it.
Yeah, let's leave some material for me when I review that for my Christopher Nolan series. Anyway, back to this. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of pointless to go over all the endless little, oh, what the heck is this kind of thing scene, you know? Because this movie knows that its fans don't care about that kind of stuff, obviously. So what are your thoughts towards the new addition to the cast in the form of Maggie Chen? Because the Expendables in this movie get a new recruit in the form of a Chinese lady who is very technologically skilled and is also deemed to be a very good fighter. So what are your thoughts, guys?
You know what, I don't think she was really a good match for the movie. I mean, Sylvester Stallone's not a great babysitter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so you think she was miscast?
She's not high maintenance, though. You know, she can hold her own.
She might be able to hold her own, but she's...
So do you think she was outclassed, or she didn't belong in the movie? What do you think?
She was a little annoying, I think, but...
Well, see, the thing is, like, I thought she was kind of annoying too, but only because of what the plot demanded from her. The plot wasn't very demanding of her. She was basically there to be yet another teasing possible romance for Sly Stallone's character. Because
I didn't really get that vibe from her. You know, I thought
it was so obvious this time. I mean, it was kind of obvious with the Latina character in in the first movie, but in this one they really upped it.
Nah, she's just, whenever she's like says something really flirty or whatever, she's just joking around, trying to be one of the boys, I guess. That's just really what's going on, I think.
In all fairness, I will say she actually really held her own in the action scenes. In those terms, I thought she was a really good addition to the cast. Because she does prove that women can be just as badass as the guys can. So in that sense, she really did a good job.
You know what? Even though she's annoying, I think just the way he made Sylvester Stallone wrote everything so straight up is what makes this his best movie of his career. Because
if by straight up you mean winking at the camera.
Yeah.
Literally, he almost literally winks at the camera with half the lines he shares with all these other stars. You got these dialogues he has with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis and Chuck Norris. They all exchange each other's famous lines. And there's even a moment where Arnold Schwarzenegger and Chuck Norris are fighting side by side, and Arnold Schwarzenegger notices Chuck Norris right next to him, and he almost says right into the camera, "Who's next, Rambo?"
Well,
even though, and of course, we in the audience are going, "Oh, Rambo's already here. He's fighting Jean-Claude Van Damme in the other room."
Yeah. That's what makes it so good, though.
Yeah, well,
you were laughing with the best of us too. Admit it.
Well, I might have been laughing for different reasons than you were.
It actually, it puts you in the movie. You become one of the Expendables.
Yes, of course.
They call that breaking the fifth wall.
Of course, because that's what every action fan would love to have. They would love to experience that, of course.
Well, it's not so much breaking, so much as smashing it down and blowing it up.
Yeah.
More breaking the wall and pulling you to the other side.
Now, Hamburglar, you already said you found Maggie to be a bit annoying, but to both of you, was there anything particularly irritating or negative you have to say about the movie?
What happens when you criticize the Mona Lisa?
Okay. On that note, let's turn over to Hamburglar.
Even if I did find something irritating about this movie, I couldn't say it on YouTube or I'd probably get hunted down by the Expendables.
Yeah, of course. Or their rabid fans, because I'm pretty sure this movie is going to be an even bigger hit than the last one was. I guess it's safe to say that there's probably going to be a third movie.
There is. And you want to know something else?
What?
They want to get Clint Eastwood and Harrison Ford in it.
Are you serious?
Serious.
Wow.
They're headhunting.
Wow, so that makes two in Hollywood. That makes Sly Stallone and Robert Rodriguez. Because on a side note, that sequel he's preparing for Machete Kills, they've been casting all the other crazy actors in Hollywood right now.
They even got Mel.
What was that?
They got Mel, don't they?
Yeah, Mel Gibson. He's going to be the villain. I think it's one of his first villain roles ever.
Much his first.
Well, I mean in a movie rather than in real life.
Well, I'm pretty sure someone was filming him doing that. So technically, does that make it a movie? If somebody filmed it,
I guess. Anyway.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, so the third movie. Obviously, there's going to be a third movie. Who would you most want to see in the third movie making a guest appearance?
Bryan Cranston.
Okay, because it should be noted that all three of us are huge Breaking Bad fans. So yeah, Bryan Cranston being in the movie, that would be interesting.
I gotta ask though, who's left? I mean, they sucked the action movie genre dry.
Well, a lot of Expendables fans were saying they need Wesley Snipes in the next one because
but he's in jail with the IRS, isn't he?
I don't know. I guess
film his scene. They could film his scenes in prison. I think.
Maybe, yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, well,
Breaking him out of prison.
Film a prison riot scene. I don't know.
Well, the movie could be based.
But yeah, so Wesley Snipes. I can't really think of that many. I'm sure I'm sure the real hardcore action fans out there have probably got like a dozen names written down for the people they want to see in the movie. So, what would you guys rate this movie? Since now I usually don't do ratings, but Hamburglar's a fan of ratings, and we did do it last time with the first Expendables movie, so...
Deal with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, out of 10?
I'm going to give this movie 1 out of -0.
It's impossible, man. Come on. Nothing's impossible.
Not if the Expendables do it. And I don't think I really need to ask this, but Rorschach?
8 extra testicles out of 10.
Wonderful. So we've scraped. I love how we're scraping that level of comedy now. That's wonderful. I'm glad I brought you back for this, dude.
It's hard to go below the barrel, but I did it.
Then again, we already had to try and one-up Hamburglar's comment from the last video.
All right, your shot, Jimmy. Make it count.
Oh, with the rating? Okay. Well, I remember I infuriated them last time when I said 7 out of 10.
Don't you dare.
Don't even try it.
Rest assured, I thought this movie did its job much better than the first one did, so I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
Rest in pieces.
Yeah, I'll get the shovel.
Alright, that was Rorschach the Third, and what was Jimmy Steller, or what was left of him, and Hamburglar55. Have a good one, people.